We represent the lifestyles and the wealth data of over 220 high net worth clients in the world. But we connect them through the advisors. You actually speak their language. You are working in the same circles. You're surrounding yourself with the same sphere of influence that is going to move your business into a whole new level.
It's lonely at the top. And I hear that often because they don't necessarily want to collaborate with someone else in their office.
You would be surprised how many are quietly working behind the scenes, never speak on a stage, who are handling $55 million, $125 million, $365 million properties across the globe.
Welcome back to Real Estate Leadership Unlocked. I am extraordinarily excited about my guest today. I have Laura Monroe from Realm Global on the show today. And Laura and I had the opportunity to meet a little bit over a year ago, as I've been a strategic partner with Realm over the past year. And there is so many great things coming out of this organization for luxury agents, strategic partners, wealth building, and all things real estate that I had to pinpoint Laura and get her on our show. So Laura, welcome to the show, and I'd love to start with your story. Tell us a little bit about your journey leading up to Realm, and what is Realm?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Realm was built 5 years ago to be an ecosystem for the top 1% of luxury agents or agents in the industry. Our core mission is to elevate the advisor from being an agent to being an advisor, and then making sure that we have a community of peer and like-minded agents that are working at that level, so that everything we're doing through our programming, through the different referral and networking business, the real stuff, to all of the coaching that you've been bringing in, really just seeks to provide a higher elevated level of conversation with actually the end user being high net worth clients, buyers, sellers, people that are using, they just have a very different kind of approach to the way that they view their real estate. It could be assets. It could be the way they travel. It could be these other verticals that they bring into their lifestyle. So we like to say Realm is where real estate and lifestyle meets. So my role when I came on board about a year and a half ago was to come in and step into a role of Chief Innovation and Strategy Officer. And that's a big title, but really what it encompasses is really moving this company from what it was, which was sort of just really tight community of top producers, and scaling it into a global network that starts to really build itself through being informed through the members that we have. We are creating a new category of real estate.
Yes.
We don't want to copy just other networks or other education platforms or marketing platforms. We really try to supply an ecosystem that helps inform agents what to do with clients that are working in either a price point that they're already working in, probably 20 million or above per agent. We're brand agnostic, which means we have we have so many different independents. We have so many different agents that are coming in from a variety of different national brands, but we are here to support them and their business. So it's a nice layer to have.
Yeah. Well, what comes to mind for me is community is currency. And there are a lot of, like you said, organizations out there, and to the point that sometimes it becomes noise or it just gets diluted over time into what the offering is. And for my experience with Realm, it really has continually layered one on top of the other to stay true to the vision of supporting, first of all, luxury advisors, but second of all, bringing in tools and connections that really help them in their business and help the allied resources or partners grow their businesses as well. It has continued to it's never felt watered down, I guess, and we bump into watered down, even just with, like, the introduction and development of AI, right? Everything starts to s like, I think I even start to sound like AI at some point, and, it's, that's one thing that I know Rome has really worked at, continually providing that, high level of thinking to their members and, really providing that opportunity in the wealth space, and I think that's the piece of real estate we forget to talk about is wealth. We did a series, The Business Behind the Brand, like, we forget about that wealth piece. When you think about some of the initiatives that you offer through Realm, we've like we said, there are a lot of different organizations out there who have worked to bring luxury members together across brands, and some of our independent brokerages or national firms have their own luxury type of top 1%, top 10%, within the organization. It doesn't always work. But how has Realm's approach allowed for continual growth and to gain traction in this space?
I think what we sort of our value system and sort of our culture is that we really are about collaboration, not competition. We really try to be an ecosystem where the luxury agent that is really just working to strive to be a better advisor to their clients or be have a huge level and layer of differentiation. And we do that together. I think that when you have the connection, we like to say that connection is currency. I came from an organization, I've been a community builder in real estate for over 20 years, coming from Inman. And I think really where that starts to change is when you have, it's been used in the industry quite a bit, but it's a network effect of people working together, regardless of the brand, regardless of the brokerage, and creating just a layer of intelligence that doesn't compete with anyone. And that's where if you have a Sotheby's agent and you have a Compass agent, sitting in a listing presentation with the same seller or working with a buyer, that as a Realm member, you can really speak to wealth, fluency, global fluency, a little bit more philanthropy. You can speak to these other pieces that fit into a client's lifestyle in a much broader way, right? So we focus on that fluency. We focus on what does it mean to be a global agent? How are you looking at your client's life and their experiences that they're looking for and their goals rather than just the transaction through the brokerage? We really try to say, drop the cape of competition that is so volatile and so hostile and come into a place where you can belong. You can learn from others that are open to sharing. They're not going to be like, I'm not giving up that secret. They do give up secrets. They do share. It's not uncommon to hear one of our Realm members say, I literally went from 100 million GCI to 200 million the following year based on what I learned from other like-minded agents. And that's really what we facilitate at the end of the day.
Yeah. Well, and there's a couple of pieces there. It's like that collaboration piece. And we know just in
Mhm.
working with leaders, it's lonely at the top.
Just
And
lonely.
you hear that often because they don't necessarily want to collaborate with someone else in their office because they do feel that there's that trade secret
Yes.
type of mentality, or
The
they're going to take my
territoriality. Yes,
yes.
exactly.
And this platform really gives all these advisors a place, even if they're in a similar market, to come and
Yeah.
share. And what I've experienced when you talk about that 100 million to 200 million, just in several of the Realm advisors that I've had the
Mhm.
opportunity to have on the podcast, like just the collaboration across markets from referrals
100%.
or, hey, let me take that video idea and apply it to my property
Mhm.
to help promote it globally. I mean, there's just so much content there that it helps us not feel so lonely at the top,
Right.
that's like we're all in it together.
Right, and
And
what
to
LA and one of the byproducts of that is actually our members that actually do cross-marketing together. So what
right,
starts to happen when you see these things is that you'll see members go, "You know what? You're in my feeder market. I should be marketing your listing," or vice versa. It's fantastic the way that they're able to connect, We give all the warm introductions. They are able to do business together. We stay out of it. We let them, like, once they know each other, we're just in the supportive layer piece. They do the things on their own. We just kind of make sure that they have all of the introductions that they need to other agents, in their feeder market. So ones they're going to actually do business with. Because the last thing any of us need is, like, 500 more people in our CRM that we have to manage, tons of other people that we don't really connect with. And, our whole job waking up every single day is making sure that every interaction has a value to your business behind it. And it really happens because when you're handing off a client at that level, you want to hand it to someone that speaks your language, works like you, is going to get the same level of service, and vice versa. So that's been the activation that we see around that culture and those values is incredibly fulfilling to see happen.
Yeah. And what's interesting from my perspective, I was introduced to Realm probably about 3 years ago.
Mhm.
And for me, just continuing to observe and being an active participant now as a strategic partner, it has gone from really what used to be a network where there was common knowledge shared and ideas shared to a true movement, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
And I see that just like you said, locally or domestically and internationally. And for me, as a um, real estate top agent, coaching consultant, it's offered me the opportunity to connect referrals. It's like I have this client in Seattle who needs someone in DC. My first stop is the Realm map. And I say, hey, here are advisors who think like you, who work like you, and who understand your client. Call them. And so, you don't have to add all those people to your CRM to have the access to go in and say, oh, you won the lottery and want to move to Costa Rica or any of these other amazing places that we see on Leading Minds. Like, let's here's who you need to talk to. And so it's the same for these clients. I know many of the top producers are getting involved in like the sports aspect or the lifestyle aspect, networking, and it just to me it has gone from network to movement, and that has been fun to be part of and to watch. So let's talk about the advisors who may be listening from the luxury space out there. How are you seeing that evolution continue, and what is it that they're craving now, or what are you getting requests for at the top end luxury space that maybe we didn't think about because we were part of this luxury brand that offered this great marketing that said we were global?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, well, we always do an end of year survey, right? So we always kind of want to take the pulse of our members, see how their year went. And I think it's very similar to what's happening in all of the real estate industry.
Mhm.
They're really looking at ways to increase their market share, obviously, increase their price points, and kind of tap into, some are interested in learning more about AI and just being more productive with the level of business that they're doing now. Some are actually building globally, which is what's really exciting for me, is that you're seeing more agents that get an understanding of tax havens, wealth, the capital that is moving in the luxury space is typically not just because I want to have a second home here or I'm looking for a vacation home. It really is I'm investing in another area. Either I want to have another country that I can either retire in or go to that's outside the United States, or we're seeing more dual citizenships and we're seeing more people migrate to other areas based on the tax shelters that they may have or golden visas or things like that that are really a different level of fluency than you're seeing in the normal luxury marketing side of it, right? So when we bring in advisors from the other countries, so in London, we actually have, I don't know if you've spoken to John Eric, but John Eric is a Compass agent in Washington, D.C., who's literally just opened a brand new office in London, specifically for clients that are ready to either have a second home in London or are thinking about, are expats into London, and crafting a client experience for them that's very similar to the way we do things in the US, but with everything that they need in London. So we're seeing the fluency of our agents that are members operate at that level where they are expanding their worldview and they're sharing it back. So we're starting to see our international initiative take off. We just brought in 50 new members from New Zealand and Fiji to sort of round that out. And it's amazing to see how it all gets activated, because we don't have the typical brokerage limitations and silos that we have to work between. It's really all relationship based. So it's been pretty fascinating.
And you do hear a lot more of buying. It used to be buying the second home at the lake or the second home in the
Yes.
mountains or at the beach, and we are seeing more and more of it where it's international spend, especially in your higher net worth, where it might be a second home, third home, ski villa, whatever that may be. And we have been really constrained by who we know in those markets, or they're just off to the races in those countries, or what your local brokerage can do for you. And that's why I think too, as we look at the evolution of the brokerage model, and we know there's some large companies out there who are dominating, and then there's still the independent firm that I look at that are hugely successful. And I look at this type of network or community as a huge selling factor for them because they get the opportunity to go in these listing appointments or work with these buyers that they can say, yeah, my company's not global, but I can offer you all that and more. And so I do see that a lot of the high net worth on the listing side want someone that's global because some of the buyers are coming from
Well, and
international
they're all
places.
cash and they're coming in with a level of discernment that is
Sure.
very, very well educated in what they're looking for, right? So, one of the things that we love about independents, and we love them so much because they're agile, they are creative, and they're not limited by anything, truly. So, where that really works with Realm is that, again, we go back to the differentiation. While we are not a brokerage, one thing we offer independent brokerages is access to inventory through global luxury brand residences, for example, or through the yachting, or yachting partners, or coaching partners, or different partners that allow them to have some of the opportunity that some of the larger national brands may have. But when you layer the access, that you can get not just through a network, but through the partnerships and the access to other inventory. Another partner of ours is Picasso. So for clients that are looking for fractional ownership in Europe or going somewhere, we have those listings right inside our platform. And the really great thing about our Realm Intelligence platform, which is really the core connective tissue to all of this, is when we have the client data that we don't, it's all anonymized, but what we have is an intelligence matching ecosystem that allows you to not only connect with the advisor, but to understand where these different lifestyle components of what your clients are looking for are plugging into the lifestyle affinities of other advisors and their clients. So we represent the lifestyles and the wealth data of over 220 high net worth clients in the world. But we connect them through the advisors, right? So a lot of people think, oh, it's a network of just people that I can call. But no, we are connecting you through the Realm Intelligence layer of having all of these different lifestyles and affinities and these 360-degree views of what your high net worth client is, and connecting them through layers that you may not think of. Philanthropy, for example, is a great one. When you can go into a listing appointment and say, I already know through my prospect work that I was doing beforehand that this particular buyer is also interested in the same philanthropy, or something else that this seller is interested in. And when you're that advisor sitting in a room that can have that layer of intelligence and precision in a conversation, you're the differentiator. You're not coming in with marketing tools, you're coming in with fluency that is far, far better for the client than just, where are we selling your house? You know,
Mhm.
we're helping you with your whole life. So that's kind of our approach there. So it's been super fun.
Well, and I look at just for the luxury advisor listening, so often we sit and we think about more of a smaller scale. What can I bring into this listing? Who do I know? What does my brokerage offer? And you're touching on something that Realm actually has been really leaning into over the past 2.5 to 3 years is that strategic partnership, not so much from a coaching
Mhm,
perspective, but who are the targeted buyers? How do we get in front of them? And your partnerships, like you said, with Picasa,
mhm,
with yacht distributors, with cars, with aviation, with
mhm.
a lot of these developments that are
Wow.
taking place
Yeah,
overseas. Those pieces are when we look at how do we deliver the highest level of service for our client, and that's what every real estate advisor should be
mhm,
asking themselves before they go into any appointment. What is the highest
absolutely.
level we can offer? It's things like this that we need to think about, and so often we're stuck at, like, we've got the local vendors, and we can get the staging done, and we have a roof
It's very
repair, and
local. Mhm.
yes, we have a pool installer, and we can design this
We can do your
amazing.
roof and we can make, yes,
Yes,
the appraiser
yes.
and all of that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, and that's the thing if you take nothing away other than expand your horizons on what you're offering for
Mhm.
level of service, go create some partnerships with wealth building or wealth
Yes,
knowledgeable.
wealth advisors. We also
Yes.
partner with wealth advisors as well. So, we can connect directly to family offices, for example, because if you think, where wealth advisors, they're working with real estate assets all the time. They're helping guide the strategies. So, if you're connected to family offices that are using wealth advisors, which we connect, then guess where you're going to find your next your next buyer or seller, from a wealth advisor that's like, hey, I'm dealing with someone that has a, $2 billion portfolio of assets. They're looking for someone that's going to help them, build a new home or a new compound somewhere. And we need someone that can help them do that. The sports and entertainment piece is huge. They move a lot. We see that quite frequently. But when you think about, if I'm someone with a high net worth, where is my lifestyle touching um these different level of advisors that I'm going to need help with? We're saving them time. We're saving them the trust. The trust is the hugest thing, which is, when you're working with a trusted advisor, you're going to learn who the other trusted advisors are. You're going to go through, you know, around a high net worth person, there are at least 7 people that you have to get through to get to them. And usually it's going to be through some other area of their life, so that you can kind of understand that client a lot better. So at Realm, when we're looking at the holistic view of an agent that is working at that level or even aspiring to that level, we are educating a level of fluency that really does, like, to your point, lean more into the wealth side of it, because the byproduct of that is that you're going to attract exactly the kind of clients that you're hoping to work for. So it's less about, kind of, in early days of marketing, where it's like, all right, I'm going to use more of a script font, and I'm going to use more of these other outside luxury distinctions, and you actually speak their language. You are working in the same circles. You're surrounding yourself with the same sphere of influence that is going to move your business into a whole new level.
Yeah, and then that goes back to, if you're someone that's listening and you're aspiring and you have someone in your circle that has wealth. Maybe they're not ultra luxury, but they have
Yeah.
wealth. Start talking to them about who they're confiding in as a wealth advisor, and
Mhm.
start there. Build the trust with those wealth advisors,
Absolutely.
because I think it's a missed opportunity. The same with financial planners. Like, you start there. You get with the
Absolutely.
financial planners, get to and then you get to the wealth advisors, because you're absolutely right. There is a bubble around these people, and these individuals don't just invest in residential real estate. They're investing in developments, commercial, property management firms,
Mhm.
like all things real estate, that you could have a piece of that puzzle to apply for
Right.
them.
Right.
And so it's just really leaning
And I
into
think the
those
education,
pieces.
I mean, I've been involved in the industry so long that I think that The other shift and trend that we're seeing, and I think this speaks to what's resonating throughout even our industry right now, is that for so long, we've really been focused on the first time home buyer, right? And our first time home buyers are continually being priced up. You know,
Mhm. Yes.
the level of competition that they now have at certain price points is becoming almost ridiculous. So it's the industry has to shift away from just talking to the first time home buyer, and we have to kind of speak to the and I don't want to make it sound like the haves and the have nots, because it's not that. But there
Mm.
is a certain, let's have a mindset where we're approaching not only the first time home buyers at a brand new level, because they're not what they were before, which is like you could squeak in with 1% down and you can get, your condo started. It's not about that anymore. It's really about helping them understand that at 29 years old, now's the great time to invest in a piece of property, because you're going to be able to down the road be able to do this, have more freedom, have better life experiences, have more choice and opportunity in your life. And I think we have to shift the conversation a little bit regarding how when we get our real estate license, we normally just seek, okay, I just need to seek anybody that is either buying or selling. And that was always first time home buyers. And if you're speaking that language and only that language, anyone who has a house to sell or buy, you're missing out on some big opportunities to really create some nuance in your business and attract a completely different level of client. And that goes for any market. It doesn't have to be Vail, Aspen, New York, Miami, Beverly Hills. It is there in almost every single market. It's
Yeah.
there. It's who are you attracting with your fluency? Yeah.
I agree with you, and I'm thinking as you're talking small markets versus large markets, and I coach
Mhm.
agents in both,
Yeah.
and the reality is, and this lends itself to what you're referring to also, is multi-generational wealth, and so
Absolutely.
your first-time home buyers are of oftentimes a totally different mindset, because first-time home prices have elevated so much
Yeah.
that the multi-generational wealth is coming in to help a lot of these first-time home buyers get in these homes, and you
100%.
have to be able to be relevant to them and their parents
And
or their
their parents.
grandparents and
Yes.
whoever else is in their circle,
Yep.
and so the first time home buyer evolution has been interesting. I've been in the business, over
Yeah,
20 years, and so, like you said, it used to be the, "Hey, I want to buy a two-bedroom, two-bath somewhere," and you could buy it for
exactly.
I
My
think
life
I
ticket
know.
fence. Yeah,
Yeah, I paid 88,000 for my first home in Savannah, Georgia. It was a three-bedroom, two-bath, and you're just like,
amazing.
gone are the
That's not
days,
even,
right?
yeah, not even possible anymore. Well,
No,
and
no.
to your point, what is interesting, I was just at dinner, at Inman, in fact, in New York, and met a brilliant young woman who was 29 years old. She'd already purchased her first home, as an investment. Like, her mindset was, "I wanna go live in France 1 year with my college friends because we were exchange students. I'm going to buy this house. This house I'm going to rent out because it has a rental in the back. That will pay for my mortgage so that then I can take my income and go travel and go live where I want." And that is the way the new generation is starting to look at where their investments are taking them. They're looking at what, not only is it the house that I'm getting, but it's the life
With
that
the
I'm getting.
with the
And so, to your point, that multi generational viewpoint is so important, because if they're coming in with some cash that allows them to do this, you can immediately set them up with a wealth advisor who's going to work with you to make sure they get the right property that gives them the right kind of tax benefits so that they can live the life that they want, living half the year in the French Riviera. And that is the way the world is going. We are getting smaller, but we're also getting bigger. More and more of our advisors are seeing more young people live part-time in Dubai or a condo in Mexico, or we're seeing more agents that are hungry and tech savvy go, "You know what? I live in Canada, but I know that I can run a team in Tulum, Mexico. And I can start to build through the global developments that way." So if my big point is that, like, the industry is changing, and it's not just changing because of what's in the news headlines. It's changing because our capital is changing, our access to what we want in our life is changing. And I don't think we have enough conversations about that. And in Realm, we do. We do activate around that mindset of what's next, what's coming, what do we need to be aware of. And it's not just about working at a high net worth level, but if we actually think about it, the entire world is becoming more and more and more um, going on this arch of high net worth. And so you have to really decide what kind of, person you're attracting that you can work with because they live everywhere. It may not be that they live there full time, but they live everywhere and they're in your own market. So find
Yeah.
those people and we help
Yeah.
teach them how to do that and continue that great service.
Yeah. It as you're talking again, the word wellness came to mind
Mhm.
where it's probably been a year and a half ago, we were talking about how things have shifted from fitness or outdoor entertaining to
You're
wellness. And when
learning
you
that
start
too.
thinking about,
Yeah.
yeah, advising these luxury homeowners to should we do A or B, it's like, how are you um, building in wellness opportunities into your
Yes.
home? Is it the infrared or saunas or things like that that
Yes.
then we can promote this as a wellness property
Well,
to
and
not
that's
just
true.
the
So
fitness room.
if you think about capital, right? So if we think
Mhm.
about the way real estate is moving, we also like to definitely wellness is a part of our ethos as well. And when we talk about it, we're also working on those trends. I want to say there's like a $45 billion industry for residential
Yeah.
wellness. And to your point, it's about building, not where am I going to put my Peloton, but it's where am I going to create a space that has the red light therapy, that has my cold plunge, that has that balances my circadian rhythm and the lighting. All of these different things that are starting to become components of not just the house itself, but
Mhm.
again, it's about how am I living in this home? What is really important to me in my life that is creating some longevity? People are staying in their homes longer if they're not
Mhm.
continually investing in other homes. So, and that came off of COVID, but it's really sprang through this conversation around longevity and wellness. So Realm does have a chief wellness officer, Chelsea, who informs us of all of these amazing new advancements in longevity, but where it fits into the luxury brand developments that are really going from being gyms and community hangouts around working out to having recovery centers, having a community that's built around the wellness piece is becoming a huge part of developers and architects' way of how they're seeking to connect people to where they live a little bit more deeply. And we can take so many good cues from that, even in our own
Mhm.
conversations with our clients. I mean, you might have another partner, Reverie 3D, or one of our newer partners, Vesta, that are going to come in and create what kind of furniture they're going to be working in their home. How are they going to create the interior? And again, it's kind of an opportunity to say, I have a partner that can help you figure this out, install it, and you're done. And that's another beautiful thing that we try to connect them to as well.
Well, if you're listening to this and thinking, "Gosh, I want more information on those things," we did an interview with Chelsea not long ago,
Oh,
so
good, good. Yeah.
scroll down in
You
the
can link
podcast
that
and
to
you can
that.
learn about how to incorporate a lot of these wellness opportunities
Yes.
into luxury homes. And what we're finding too is that the higher net worth people individuals will spend the money on
Yes.
improving the home before they sell. So having these ideas, same with development. If you're involved with developers, builders, that sort of thing, bring these aspects to them. Gone are the days of people want the community pool. Yes, they
Yes,
do, and they want the wellness areas as well. And so if
they
you want
do.
to reach that upper echelon of the development within your community, go back and listen to this podcast and then connect with
Yes.
Chelsea. All of
She
her
is
contact numbers in
amazing.
the show notes. She's
And she's been
amazing.
helping developers build out their new developments by linking this to the lifestyle that's so important. And it's becoming more and more mainstream, which is really exciting. So again, when we think about real estate, I think we've always been real estate is still so much a lifestyle, business and relationship business.
When you think about the next 3 to 5 years, because I know you all at Realm are very future looking, when you look at the next 3 to 5 years within the luxury space, what do you see for development? That can be tools, access, trends. What are some things that you all are preparing for to continue to be relevant in that luxury space? And if you're a broker owner of a company, what are some things they should be thinking about as they're looking to develop their luxury presence in a market?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think where we really look at it is from sort of the AI technology and lifestyle intersection, right? So we kind of look at our platform first. What are the significant differentiators around wealth, around the connectivity piece that is driving the the output for agents, right? We think a lot about the input, which is, I'm getting a lot of education, I'm getting some coaching, I'm getting partnerships, but where am I plugging that into my business in more ways? So we like to, an easy way of saying that is, where am I making this actionable? Some that might be listening might be thinking, okay, wellness and longevity sounds great, but I really just want to kind of, start to capture as a broker some new market share based on, some of these really relevant topics. And I would say, if you're an independent broker owner and you're looking to kind of take your top producers and make them really, really fluent globally, make them fluent in wealth advisory, give them a layer of intelligence that is far beyond just productivity and marketing, and really starts to inform and educate them through their clients that you're actually hoping they can attract more of. If we kind of tap into what agents already do so well, is relationships. They carry the market share of this entire industry through those relationships. So for us to be able to elevate them to a level to continually move and attract and create a wealth of relationships that, one, not only increases your price point, we hear about that all the time, but two, it creates a lifetime acquisition of a client that stays. And if you're a broker owner that can help one of your top producers maintain that relationship longer, you're going to be in business a lot longer. Your margins are going to be better. So it's less about the money on the wealth, and it's more about how can you help your agents attract a different market share of client, work with them in a different way, and supply them a lifetime of the right kind of service that creates a lifetime client, not one that is constantly just transactional. You lose them at the end. Keep them into your company. And that's what Realm can do for a broker owner, is help 5, 10, 15 agents really hone in and work together to do all of those things, create more lifetime clients that can meet these different needs of the world and as it's changing. And I think as a broker, you have to kind of be thinking about that in the future. How am I educating the next generation of an agent? How are we looking at wealth and where it's distributed and where it's coming from and where it's moving right now? With the people that are with the interest rates that they locked into years and years ago, we all know they're not moving yet until they die. So what are we doing with the people that have the capital, that are moving, investing, changing their worlds until we can get into the next generation, which is choosing experiences over a home? And what are we building into those homes that help them achieve the experience that they're looking for? So it's a different mindset, but I think that if we have, if we're tapping into what that 3 to 5 years looks like, that's where we approach it from, is the intersection of more intelligence, more ways to connect, and more ways to create greater fluency, where consumers at this level are actually going and increasing that lifetime acquisition of any kind of client that you want to have. So that's really our goal.
Such a great description and analogy for our broker owners out there, because oftentimes the conversation sits at retention. How are we retaining our top producers against some of these other brokerages who
Yeah.
are out recruiting or offering a better split or prettier marketing or
Mhm.
a training class, and really leaning into what's important? And like you said, it's the lifetime value of a client, not the
Mhm.
transactional value of the client. And so
Absolutely.
if
Yeah,
you are
and if you
listening and you
can
own a
Mhm.
brokerage,
Yes.
there's your answer.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly, and I think that that's where and if you can take your next generation of your top producers into a global fluency that really can understand that. It is a difference. It is a different level of thinking. I came into Realm thinking, "I already know everything I need to know about luxury. I've been to all the conferences. I've been to all the events. I hear how do you break into luxury? How do you" and most of us think it's a select few agents that operate at a certain level. You would be surprised how many are quietly working behind the scenes, never speak on a stage, who are handling 55 million, 125 million, $365 million properties across the globe. And all of this business is exchanging hands in one little community of people that are, I think in our first 2 weeks of January this year, we already had 60 million in referrals that were already moving and shaking. So that's sort of a testament to when you have trust and you have an inclusive, open, collaborative, sharing environment, you have something really unique and special, and we think it's a different category in real estate altogether. There's really nothing like it at the advisor level, outside of a brokerage that does some of the same things, but again, we're more of a complementary layer of an ingredient that any broker, especially independent, can add to what they're already providing. And it's just deepening those relationships and creating a level of prestige within your community that says you've arrived. You're here. You're here.
Yeah.
You're not lonely at the top. And you have so much more to do, with each other. And that's also informing our next 3 to 5 years is the advisors that are moving in that circle and are continuing to expand.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you just my relationship with Realm has been amazing. And I,
We
like you
love
said, well,
you.
I work with top producers and brokerages, surely I can learn something. And every week there is a nugget that I learn and the collaboration that exists. And one thing encourage you that are listening that might be in smaller markets where you don't see 20, 50, $100 million properties.
Right.
That doesn't mean it's not luxury. And so I encourage you to find
Absolutely.
luxury
It's
in your
not about the
market.
price point. Mm-mm.
Yes,
No.
luxury is about the service, and
Yeah.
so for our market, luxury in our market would be that 10 to
Yeah.
20 million.
Yeah.
That's about what we have as far as a top end price point, and there's still opportunities. So if
Yes.
luxury isn't 20 million for you, define luxury and go after it. And
Yes, absolutely, and I think that if you are listening too and you're thinking about, could I get 1 new luxury home? Could I get 2? Um, it really is just a shift in mindset, and we actually often talk about the difference between being a mass marketed agent rather than being the one that speaks to this kind of client that has that kind of price point, so that you're speaking to them not through the price point, because they're thinking of their home as an asset. So how are you shifting the way that you approach and market to these folks when it's a completely so there is a way of breaking in, but it is more about fluency and mindset over am I having the opportunity to pitch to a seller that has that kind of property. You just need to come in with a different level of differentiation and a different kind of conversation. And it's almost a no-brainer. So, it happens all the time.
yes, and it's greatness is ahead, as I always say.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's a great thing to say.
Laura, it has been a true pleasure. We will be sure to drop in the show notes where they can find you, as well as how to get connected with Realm if that's something they're interested in doing. For those of you out there, there is an application type of process, and it
It's
is an
even yeah.
exclusive network in that they'll do some interviewing and stuff. So it's not just everyone gets in with a pulse. We want to make sure that you are a great fit to continue to learn from and provide to the organization. So
Thank you. And you've
excited
been
to
such a great partner for us, Debbie, because you come
oh,
in with such a level of grace and intelligence on the business side that when our advisors are really looking for that kind of strategic advice, we know just who to send them to. So it's been wonderful having this partnership with you.
oh, thank you, Laura. And I didn't even ask her to say that.
No, you didn't even pay me.
Thank
I see it and I see it in how our members love working with you. So it's great. So if you're listening, definitely contact Debbie for more because she's amazing and she
thank
knows
you.
our language too. So
Yes, I do. I've got some
you
little
do.
nuggets in my pocket from this week alone. So
Yes, it's been
thank you so
amazing.
much again, and we look forward to continuing to spotlight many of the Realm members and keeping our listeners updated with all things luxury. Take
Thank
care.
you so much.